For today's craft, I'm going to be working on some party invitations. My little girl is turning 4 in a couple months, and I'm already starting to party plan, and I absolutely love the whole process of creating the invitation. I always think that the invitation is the first step to creating the whole party, and then I usually base the whole party off of the design of the invitation. So I was playing around with these last night, and I was trying a couple different things. My original idea was to have a floral background, but as I was looking at it, I just felt like everything was kind of meshing together. Nothing was really popping off the page. So this was my final version. I wanted to show you both though, just to show you how, sometimes you'll try some things and you aren't going to necessarily love them the first time. So you can just keep trying and putting different little patterns together. And sometimes, your first one doesn't turn out, but then you end up with something that you really love. So this was my final version of the card. I really like it. I think it's really, really pretty. I like how the swan, you guys, if you've followed me for a while, you guys know that I love doing little floral animals. I think it's just really fun. So I love the floral swan, and we're going to be using some vinyl. We have some embellishments. So I'm going to show you how I put this together. It was really, really fun. And then on the back, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a Word document to attach all of the information for the party. So what you are going to need if you want to create an invitation of your own, again, yours don't have to look exactly like mine, but you guys can take away the tips and the techniques for this tutorial to apply it to a party invitation of your own. So what I did was I cut some cardstock. So this white piece of cardstock is 4 inches by 5.5 inches. And then this pink cardstock, the one that we will layer underneath, this pink cardstock was 4.5 inches by 6 inches. So those were the measurements if you want to recreate those. You're also going to need some kind of patterned paper. This is from the Martha Stewart pattern pack. I will show you guys in a minute the actual pack if you guys want to see that. It's a beautiful floral color. Her designs are double-sided, so you get twice as many designs in the pack. And I just picked up my second pack this weekend because I loved the pack so much, and I think it might be going away because it was on sale. So it's very beautiful. So I'm going to use that. I'm also going to be using some gold glitter vinyl. This is adhesive vinyl. It's actually from Paper Studio. It's a beautiful gold. It's really fun around Christmas time, and it's really like girly and fun for little projects like this. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm going to be using some embellishments. My daughter picked these out. She obviously has amazing taste because these were where my eye was going to, but I let her pick them out for her party invitations, and this is exactly what she wanted, so I was super relieved. And I was excited too because I didn't even have to point her in that direction. Her eye went right there, so I guess she's a little bit like Mama for sure. So you're going to use those. We're going to use some tape. I accidentally picked up removable tape, so I would opt for getting more of a permanent tape, but I made these last night, and they are sticking super well. So I'm totally fine with making all, I think I'm going to make about a dozen of them. I'm going to make all of them with this. It's totally fine. But if you want, just note that you could get a stronger tape if you'd like. I'm going to be using a hot glue gun to attach the flower, a scraping tool, weeding tool, this little spatula tool, and tweezers just in case, and then some transfer tape. Okay, so we have all of our measurements for our actual invitation, so let's pop into Design Space, and I'm going to show you how I created all of the little files that I'm going to cut out and bring this party invitation all together. Okay, so the first thing, as always, that I'm going to do is I'm going to create that shape box so that I can create a little mock-up of my actual invitation so that I can visually size all of my materials. So I am going to create it white, and again, I unlocked it down here because I'm not working with a perfect square. And my width is going to be 4, and my height is going to be 5.5. So this is the white cardstock. Again, there's going to be pink cardstock layered underneath, but I only really need the white cardstock to get us started here to get everything measured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some images, and I'm going to go up here and I am going to search for, I believe it was called Folk Art Swan. Oops. Okay. And it was this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I'll just grab all of my my little images. And the next one I'm going to just type in crown because I put a little crown Oh goodness. I put a little crown on her. There's so many options. Okay, I believe it was this one. Was it this one? Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so I have both of the images in my queue, so I can just add them both at the same time. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just start sizing these. Do you guys see how this was helpful? Let me make everything a little bit bigger. It's helpful just to have a little canvas of what your actual paper size is, because then you can just size everything once in Design Space, cut it, and then you won't have to worry about cutting the wrong size and wasting any materials. So I'm just going to bring this up like about right here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe just a tad bigger. Okay, and then I am going to bring this little guy out. Let's color her a pink, even though she will be cut out of that pink floral scrapbook paper, but we'll just color her pink. That way we start getting a little visual of what this is going to look like. And then I'm just going to size this down. There's a little on the right hand side, a little arrow key with double arrows, and this will just allow you to size your image up or down. And I am going to go right about there, and then I'm going to use this top right hand arrow and just rotate it around a little bit. Okay, so that looks perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text, and I'm going to use the font called Birthday Cakes. Okay, so it's this one right here, and I am going to just say 4. And I'm going to color this, let's see here. Oops. Bring it right on here. Let's see. Is it gonna let me color it? Let's see here. There we go. I'm going to color it that gold color because I want the gold 4 and the crown to cut out the same. What I'm going to do here is, for some reason, for my eye, this F is a little bit further from the rest of the letters. So I'm going to go over here and I am going to ungroup, and I am going to, did I do that right? Yes, ungroup the letters, and I am going to just pull this F in a little bit because for some reason there was just too much of a space there. And that looks better to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and hitting the command button on my Mac, I'm just going to select all of them and I'll weld them back together so that they print all together. Okay, so we are all good there. And so that's it. That's really it. So what all we had to do is just find our images and put them on there, and then now we are all set to cut. So I'm going to go hit make it, and whoops, we don't want the white text box, so I forgot to hide that. Let me go back and hide, just hitting this little eyeball in the layers panel, hide it, it's already gone, but it's also there in case you need to come back and do anything else with this project. So I just hide it instead of delete it. Okay, so I'm gonna go hit make it. And for this first one, we're going to load the paper first. For this one, we are going to be using the scrapbook paper. So I am going to make sure my setting is on the right setting, because then we're going to have to come back in and change it for the other one, because this is going to be out of vinyl. So the first one I'm going to do is light pattern paper, and then we are going to load our mat and get started. Okay, so I'm just going to load a little piece of that scrapbook paper right onto my mat here, and then make sure it's all the way down, and we'll get it loaded. And this little swan cuts super fast. Again, I was kind of playing around with this last night to see what my final look would be, and it was a really quick little mock-up. So there we go. And I'm going to be creating probably a dozen of these or so, but I will only create one for you today. So if you're going to make multiples, all you have to do is in your layer panel, above the layer panel, you'll just duplicate your project. That way it just cuts out 12 swans and 12 texts and 12 crowns. That's as easy as that is. So, okay, so this is perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel the white space away from the swan first. Like this, and then we have scraps that we don't need. And now I'm going to use my little scrape spatula, and I'm just going to actually kind of peel, kind of bend my mat and get my little spatula kind of under there and just kind of lightly peel him off, kind of like you would peel cookies from a sheet. And then there it is. So it's perfect. And by doing this technique and not ripping, you are going to prevent your paper from rolling, because then it doesn't look very good. It rolls and it won't lay down as nice. So we have our swan. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just place that little piece of vinyl. This is that glitter vinyl. Perfect. And I'm just going to scrape this one down a little bit. Okay, and then I need to go, you guys can't see my camera, but what I'm doing is I'm just going back into design space really quick, and I'm just selecting vinyl because I currently have the Cricut on light pattern paper, and that's not going to cut how we need it to cut for vinyl. So I just went back and changed that setting. It's on default pressure, and the material is just set to vinyl, and then we're just going to cut this one out really quick, and we'll be all set. Okay, so that's already done cutting. So now we will just put our mat upside down and lightly peel the mat away from the vinyl. Again, that's kind of the similar idea to the paper as well. It just helps your vinyl to not roll around. Okay, we have a couple little pieces of scraps that we can salvage here, so we'll do that. Okay, I don't even know if that's usable, but I just hate to throw it away because you never know if you're going to need it. Okay, so now I'm just going to weed this really quick. This is the Cricut weeding tool. It's my favorite weeding tool to use. I'm just going to pierce a corner and pull down. This is a very quick project to weed because you just peel away the surrounding area or the negative space, and then you just peel the little O, middle of the O out. So it's very, very quick, very, very easy. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to put all of the elements together. So this is really, really easy. What we're going to do is we are going to lay the 4 down first, I believe. I think it would be easiest because you just kind of line it up with the bottom. So go ahead and add any element first that you'd like, but I think I'm going to start with the 4. For this, it's going to be really important that you have a light grip transfer tape. So I really like this masking paper transfer tape. I think it's really, really nice to use. And it's really important because you're going to be applying your vinyl to paper. So you're going to want something that is not going to rip your paper once you go to pull it up. So I'll show you what I mean as I'm working through this next step. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place that, let's make sure I don't lose the crown. Okay, place this piece of transfer tape over the 4 and scrape it down. You guys, I just got this scraping tool. It's from 651vinyl.com. I just ordered a bunch of vinyl from them, and I added this to my cart, and I probably won't use my Cricut one again. Well, that's probably a lie. I probably will eventually, because you always use your materials, but I would think I'm definitely preferring this over the Cricut one right now. It scrapes down so easily, and it's really flexible, but firm enough too to get the job done. So I was really surprised at how much I liked it, and the price of it is just amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to use my scraper tool to, help or not my scraper tool, I'm sorry, my weeding tool to just help make sure that I can encourage any letters to come off of the carrier sheet in case they get stuck. Okay, whoops. Sometimes with this glitter vinyl, you just have to help nudge it along a little bit. Especially because the glitter vinyl is a little bit more sturdy than regular vinyl. And it's paired with a transfer tape that is a little bit more light grip because you're applying it to paper. So you're just going to have to just be patient with it, but it really is the ideal combination for this project. Okay, so I'm just going to lay the 4 down. Let me just trim this little side off really quick because it's just going to help me when I'm eyeballing my center point here. So right there. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that down really quick, and then I'll just peel it up. And again, this right here is the part where it's important that you have that masking transfer tape, because look, it's peeling right off that paper. It's not ripping it or anything. If you use a strong grip transfer tape, it's going to be a nightmare because that's just going to attach that paper and it's going to rip it when you try to pull it off. So make sure that you are using the appropriate transfer tape. Okay, for the Swan, I think I'm going to put her down next. I'm going to use this tape. Again, I picked up removable tape. I'm not sure if I did that on purpose or accident, but it is doing a good job. So if that's what you have, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you want to get something more permanent, definitely do that. So I'm just getting some tape all over this little sweet swan. Make sure. Okay. Now I have to peel her up from my mat. Okay, so she is all taped up, and now I'm just going to lay down right on the invitation. Perfect. Okay. Now with this little crown, you can use transfer tape if you'd like. I'm actually just going to peel it up like a sticker because it is sturdy enough to be peeled up like a sticker, and it's going to be easiest just to place it right there and quicker. So it's just kind of all makes sense to me to do it that way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place that little crown right on her head, and that's all set just like that. Super cute. Okay, now for the flower, it looks like they have adhesive on them, but it's just not coming off with the flower. So I would recommend having an adhesive option for these. I don't know if they've just been sitting so long on the shelf or what, but I tried last night to use the tape with it and it just didn't work. The material, it's kind of like I can't even really, it's a really fine paper material. It's beautiful, but it wasn't responding really well to attaching with the tape. It was going on, it just wasn't staying on. So I'm going to opt to use hot glue for this part. So I'm just going to add a little bit, let me get this little guy in there. Didn't have my glue stick all the way pressed down, so it might take a second for that to warm up. Oh, nope, it didn't. So I'm just going to place a little bead of hot glue right there, and then I will just place my flower right on top of that. And that seems to be working great. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my layers together. So I'm just going to put some tape right on this little pink piece. Just plenty of tape. And then I'm just going to center it as best as I can and lay it down. Perfect. And the great thing about this tape is if you go over the edges, you just can kind of rub it off with your fingers and it goes right away. So I'm going to do that because I went over a little bit. All right, so I didn't time myself, I should have, but for one invitation, it's already done. And again, what I will do is I will put on the back, I'm just going to go into a Word document on my computer and I'm just going to type up all of the information and then I'll cut it out and just put it with some tape on the back. That way all of the party information will be on the back, but I'm not going to go through that with you guys because everybody's information will be different. You guys will know how to do that part. So that is how that turned out. So I love it. It's going to be really quick and easy. I'm going to go make now, what, 11 or 10 or 11 more of these to get our party all set up. I think it's going to be really fun. So stay tuned too, because I'm going to be doing my very first cake topper. My little girl really wants a Swan birthday party. She loves the idea of swans, so she's having a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to be doing a really fun little party, just little details that are going to bring the party together. So I'm having fun. It's all very springy and fun. I feel like spring is a really fun time to craft because we have Valentine's Day and a couple birthdays in our house, and we also have Easter coming up, so just make sure you guys are all subscribed because there are going to be a lot of fun things coming up. I'm crafting definitely daily behind the scenes to bring new content to you guys, so make sure you guys are all set up and by hitting the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this and found this helpful, then please give me a thumbs up. I would really love it. Okay guys, I'll see you for the next craft.